Well, there's an atmospheric river outside, bringing a lot of water. They say some parts of the inland Western Washington could get 5+ inches of rain this next couple days. So we are safe and dry inside after having cleared out the gutters this morning and other such necessary things. But I am quite excited about this. It's been maybe a year since I've done a head-to-head. It was probably Oktoberfest beers last year or something when I did a multi-beer review. But these are beers of a family, and not just an extended family, all the Oktoberfest beers or all the pumpkin beers. No, these are all Fremont Lush beers, but there's 3 of them. I have a Fresh Hop Lush. I have the regular Lush, which y'all will know is one of my favorite West Coast IPAs for regular drinking. And this is Extra Lush, the Lush Triple IPA. Let's get started. I suppose it makes sense to start with a baseline. If you're going to drink through a family, seems reasonable, right? Everything I like about a good, verdant, lush West Coast IPA. There's a hint of sweetness. The aromas might have a hint of pineapple, but only a hint. It's more pine tree, more of the green that I expect to see and smell here in the Northwest. There's definite bitterness to the nose, like you're smelling like those hops are going to have a bit of a bite, but that's what you want, all right? Yeah, it's a good beer. I like this beer a lot. I'm already spilling. Yes, I came prepared. I have a water glass over there. And because I am in the habit of not swirling my glasses particularly well, I have a towel as well. So, but let's hope for no explosions this time. Come on, swirl, swirl, swirl. There you go. Not too much head on this. I didn't pour it hard, but it's also not coming back. There's also a definite vegetable quality to this. I mean, that makes sense. Hops are a plant, and there's a lot of hops in here. I could say there's a touch of tomato, so maybe a dry, slightly savory note, slightly acidic note to some of the aromas. All the good stuff. So, initially, juicy with that hint of sweetness. That's really nice. Then, and that's really, I think that's a hop thing mostly. Then, yeah, you're getting a bit of cracker malts, very, very light on the malts. This is mostly about the hops. And then it's a really nice combination of kind of a dry, almost brittly bitter underlying hop with this really nice green, lush hop character surrounding it. It's really nicely balanced. There's different flavors and aromas going on, or different flavors going on now that it's in my mouth. And it's good. It's a good beer. It's a really good West Coast IPA. It's one that I particularly enjoy. Now, let's see about its fresher cousin. No, it isn't necessarily fresher. Let's see, it was canned about a month ago. 9/24. I wonder what this was canned on. 9 something. Those lights there, I can't tell. 9/10. All right, so just 2 weeks. Actually, they're about 2 weeks apart. Perfect. I wonder what this one's canned on. 9/18. Okay, so all pretty fresh. Less than a month old, all of them. So this one, fresh hops. I've already explained fresh hops. They have to be canned. Like they have to be, the hops have to be taken directly from the fields, put right into the beer right away within like a few hours. And then the sorts of aromas and flavors you're getting are Not necessarily lighter. You can always offset subtler flavors with adding more, but generally greener, more alive. Think of the difference between a fresh flower, which smells great, and a dried flower, which also smells great, but different. I only have 2 of those, this type of glass, so I had to use my other one for this one. So sorry, the glasses don't quite match, but they're equivalent in size, and yeah, it works. This one has more of a honey. The sweetness is more prominent, which might be to say that the bitter and vegetable aromas are less prominent in this. There's also quite a head on this one. That was quite happy to show up. And I don't think I poured it any different, though. Y'all can go check the replay. They are still definitely in the same family. I am guessing they use the same hop varieties, largely. Once you stick your nose in there really deep, I'm not picking up that pineapple at all, but there is a slightly savory, almost tomato-like element to this. So there is some acidity. And it still smells green. Yeah. This one is definitely softer and mellower. It still has, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same varieties of hops. It has similar flavors, but they're definitely in a different balance. There's different volumes of them. I don't know that this is 100% fresh hops that are used in this. I would guess they might have used some kilned hops for part of the brewing process and then used the fresh hops at a particular part in the brewing process. That's just my assumption. And how they brew beer, it kind of makes sense. You're adding hops at different points in time to bring out different aspects of their character, different aromas, different flavors, etc. And so, but they're definitely in the same family. And I think this is a really cool thing about doing a vertical, though, is this a vertical or a horizontal? I'm guessing this might be a horizontal. A vertical is the same beer, like, over different years. And a horizontal is the same family of beers, right? These being siblings, not distant cousins. Yeah, so you get to maybe better appreciate the specific character, what it is that the brewers of these beers think are the family identity. What makes Fremont's Lush, right? What do the Fremont brewers target as they are building this beer? And it's really interesting seeing how, with the different ingredients, or with probably similar ingredients, but different forms of those ingredients, kilned hops versus fresh hops, how there are similarities, but there are also differences. And it's definitely different. I would say it tastes slightly less sweet. The malts might stand out a little bit more. But, yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how much of there's a slight tropical note to this at the beginning that I think I'm missing from this. And I think that's the sweetness, kind of the pineapple that I noted, the juiciness at the front. This drink's a little bit drier, but still not really dry. There were a few fresh hops I had this year that were kind of almost acerbically dry. Just they were really brittle on the tongue. And they were fine, but not my favorites. I think my favorite fresh hop this year has been Living House out of Portland, which I had on tap at the Oli Tap Room a couple weeks ago. That was a really, really nice beer that I enjoyed quite a bit. It was also one of the latter of the fresh hops that I had there during that session. Yeah, they're definitely in the same family. It's just this has, I think, some some subtler flavors going on, and because of that, they've adjusted the recipe a little bit, or the other flavors that comprise this that weren't adjusted just stand out differently. And it's a really good beer, and I enjoy it quite a bit. Let's see what the triple's like. So going from a single to a double to a triple single, that's mostly marketing. But in general, it's going to refer to the ABV of the beer, the alcohol volume, the amount of the beer that is alcohol. It roughly corresponds to imperial versus non-imperial, in that like an imperial is going to be an 8% or higher. A double might be 7 to 9%, and triple might be 9 and higher. And in fact, this is 9.8%. So this is a serious, that's a kicker of a beer. Alcohol generally results in more sweetness in the beer. You might also get a booziness. Also, alcohol carries flavors. So different flavors might be being carried by the additional alcohol in this. This one behaves headwise more like the regular Lush. And yeah, so this is not smelling like a double IPA, which is interesting considering it's gone that much further than a double in being a triple. Like, it's not smelling really thick or boozy or warm, which is really interesting. But there is definitely a bit more sweetness. It doesn't smell heavy. It still smells juicy, but I think it smells juicier. And I'm not really picking out the same verdancy. I'm not picking up the tropical pineapple notes I picked up in here. I'm not picking up the more bright flowery notes from here. Like, it's not, with some hops you're expecting a citrus. With some hops you're expecting like a really strong juniper. With some hops you're expecting a fir tree. This is none of those. Which also, with double and triple IPAs, with the bigger IPAs, I have found that typically the aroma is sweeter, rounder, and possibly a little bit less flowery than the regulars, the singles. I'm not sure why that is. I wonder if the alcohol acts upon some of the volatile compounds in the hops and destroys them, possibly, or causes them to change their characters so they're less present. Or maybe the aromas of the alcohol, such as it is, are masking the aromas that the hops might have brought otherwise. So this smells least like the family. There is still the sweetness, but it's like the sweetness is the dominant thing. And now that it's kind of warming a little bit, these are pretty fresh out of the fridge as I started the video, but as it's warming a little bit, that jammy sweetness that's typical of a double or a triple IPA seems to be coming in. This one smells really good. Like, it's really pleasant just to stick your nose in there and take really, really deep breaths. And there's some of the alcohol burn. Nice. I think one of the most interesting things about this one is how initially the alcohol burn doesn't show up. Like your first couple swallows, it's a nice, juicy, mild, maybe sweet grapefruit, like pink grapefruit, ruby reds from Texas kind of thing, rather than the more tart yellow grapefruits. And so it drinks sweeter to begin with, but then things start building, which is pretty normal for your bigger IPAs. Then the bitterness starts growing. And I've discussed that before, how bitterness, it can build over time. And typically, you're waiting like 30 seconds to a minute even, or even longer for the full weight of the bitterness to hit. And now my mouth is full of that beautiful, like juniper and fir tree, pine tree kind of West Coast IPA that you really like. Which frankly are kind of lacking in these, but this is also the granddaddy. This is a triple. This is carried far more character. It's a puncher of a beer. You're not going to start with that one and then go to this one. If you're going to drink a horizontal of this sort, you're going to start with the lighter one, or in this case, the middle one. But these are pretty much the same level, just different ingredients. You're going to start with your lighter ones, and then you're going to proceed to the heavier ones, because once you've had this, you're going to have a hard time smelling and or tasting these, which is going to make the rest of this afternoon interesting. Anyways, there's definitely the boozy burn. You can, if you hold the beer in your mouth a little bit, you start to taste it towards the back of your mouth, but then as you drink it, it comes up in the retro breathing. And yeah, there's that really nice warmth coming up the back of your throat, while the back of your mouth, and actually it's pretty much the whole thing, is just coated with this very, very verdant, green, beautiful hop character that we West Coast lovers love about those West Coasts that we love. This is a really good beer. Definitely sweeter. Need to see. So, do I taste the family resemblance? I don't know. I don't think so. It is such a big beer that the little nuances, the little bit of maybe tomato savoriness and acidity, the bit of pineapple, I'm just not picking those up. Instead, it's juicy sweet to begin with, then warming, then building, and it's all beautiful. Perhaps the grapefruit, but I wasn't really picking up grapefruit in either of these. So no, I don't think I'm seeing the family resemblance here. It would be interesting to see how similar the ingredients are between these. In order to get a triple, you're going to have significantly more malts. You're going to have to get more sugar into the beer to begin with, into the wort, and then allow more yeast or different yeasts or longer yeast use to eat those sugars and turn them into alcohol. And all of those are going to change the character of the beer. So they probably are using very similar ingredients. I'm guessing that the Lush brand probably focuses on a particular discrete set of malts and hops and yeasts and waters, and even using the same thing, because they have turned this one up to 11, everything else is very different. And yeah, that's what you get with horizontals like this. Let's see if I can at least appreciate some of these lighter ones now that I've blown everything out. Yeah, I'm still smelling it. It tastes good. It's interesting how soft this one is. Soft, not necessarily sweet. I think that's a good thing. The sweetness stands up in the balance in both of these better. But because this is a subtler, smaller beer, because the other flavors in here are smaller, it is interesting how the other flavors, like the sweetness, isn't as prevalent either. And I think that works really nicely. The fresh hops that they're using are given more of a chance to shine or be their own thing when they are allowed to stand on their own a little bit, or maybe have more space in which to shine. Yeah, it's a tasty beer. I like that one. So, can I still taste this one? Yeah. In fact, the bitterness is a little more visible in this one now. I'm probably just paying attention to it more. The really nice West Coast pine broom. Yeah. But once again, the sweetness isn't as visible, and that kind of tomato savoriness, the little bit of savory, acidic vinegar note is a little more visible. I can pick it up, and without a rinse, let's do this. Yeah. So the acidity, the little bit kind of like what I've been calling as the tomato, is really evident in this, coming from the triple. Going back to the triple, the lack of it and the far sweeter just overall character of the beer compared to that really beautiful balancing bit of acidity in the regular Lush is very interesting. This is my favorite. This is a really good beer that I'm enjoying. It's a really nice way to appreciate a sibling of a really good beer that I like. And I enjoy this beer. It's just a really big beer. And it is very interesting how different and how similar they all are. So anyways, this is me, Matthew. And I've got my work cut out for me. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.